The chamber of the Grand Galactic Council fell silent as Jiwoo finished speaking. 300 alien representatives stared at the human woman. Many species in this room had traveled between stars before humans discovered fire. Dr. Park said, Ambassador Krill Norax, his translucent tentacles glowing with patterns of disbelief. While we respect humanity's enthusiasm, what you propose is madness. No species has ever survived crossing a black hole's event horizon. It is impossible. Jiwoo smiled politely. Humans had joined the galactic community only 70 years ago. Most aliens still viewed them as impulsive children. With respect, Ambassador, my calculations suggest otherwise. The quantum shielding my team developed could withstand the initial gravitational forces. Our simulations show a 12% survival probability. The chamber filled with alien sounds, clicking mandibles, harmonic vibrations, and bubbling noises, all translating to shocked laughter. Admiral Zhou leaned toward Jiwoo. I told you they wouldn't listen. They never do. They don't have to, Jiwoo whispered back. Project Prometheus is already underway. Later that day, Jiwoo walked through the Council's massive space station. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around her. Some floated in protective bubbles, others crawled along the ceiling. A few were just clouds of glittering gas. Jiwoo entered. The Earth Embassy, a simple section decorated with plants and water features that many aliens found fascinating. Ambassador Hyejin greeted her with a tired smile. That went exactly as expected, Hyejin said. The Arcturian delegation has already filed a formal protest. The Zorblacks are threatening to cut off antimatter trade. Jiwoo sat down heavily. They fear what they don't understand. They fear black holes because black holes are terrifying, Hyejin corrected. No species has ever returned from beyond an event horizon, not one in 50,000 years of galactic exploration. Because they're approaching it wrong, Jiwoo insisted. She pulled up holographic diagrams showing the unique design of her ship. The Prometheus is built specifically for this mission. Our quantum tether technology will maintain connection even when traditional communications fail. Hyejin studied the diagrams. Though not a scientist, she had learned enough physics to represent Earth in cosmic matters. And you really believe this will work? She asked quietly. I believe it's worth trying, Jiwoo replied. Black holes are the key to understanding the universe. Every galactic species agrees on that. They've just been too afraid to look closely. There's a difference between caution and fear, a deep voice said from the doorway. They turned to see the massive form of Zulnar, scientific liaison from the ancient Kurillic species. The 8-foot-tall alien's crystalline body reflected light in hypnotic patterns. 53 species have attempted close observation of black holes, Zulnar continued, entering the room. 29 ships were lost with all hands. The others barely escaped destruction. Did any use our approach? Jiwoo asked. No, Zulnar admitted. Your quantum tether theory is unique, but uniquely wrong, I fear. Jiwoo stood up. Though she barely reached Zulnar's midsection, she did not seem intimidated. The Prometheus launches in 30 days, she stated firmly. Earth has approved the mission. According to Council law, you cannot stop us. Zulnar's crystalline form darkened slightly. We wouldn't dream of it. We respect your species' right to scientific inquiry. We merely question your judgment. After Zulnar left, Hyejin turned to Jiwoo. And you realize they're all watching us, waiting for us to fail. Or succeed, Jiwoo countered. That's what really scares them. Humanity solving in decades what they couldn't solve in millennia. The next morning, Jiwoo boarded a transport ship, back to Earth. As she settled into her seat, her communication device pinged. It was a message from Do-hyun, the mission commander. Engine tests exceeded expectations, his message read. Crew selection finalized. We're ready when you are. Jiwoo smiled as she watched the space station shrink behind her. The aliens didn't understand humans yet. They saw humanity's short history among the stars as a weakness. They didn't realize it was their greatest strength. Humans hadn't had time to learn what was impossible. 2 weeks later, Jiwoo stood in the observation deck of the Saturn orbital facility, watching the final construction of the Prometheus. The ship looked unlike any vessel ever built. Its strange elongated shape designed to cut through the forces around a black hole's event horizon. Chief Engineer Minjae floated up beside her in the low gravity. Final tests are complete. The quantum tether reached 98% efficiency. And the shields? As good as they'll ever be, Minjae replied. Still, crossing the event horizon of Sagittarius A will push them far beyond anything we've tested. Jiwoo nodded. Sagittarius A was the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way. It was humanity's closest and best option for this mission. Has the crew had second thoughts? She asked. Minjae laughed. Are you kidding? We had to turn away volunteers. Something about being the first beings to see inside a black hole and live to tell about it appeals to a certain type of person. Certain type of human, Jiwoo corrected with a smile. A week before launch, representatives from 17 alien species arrived to observe the mission. Most came to witness what they believed would be a tragic but instructive failure. Others came out of genuine curiosity. The night before departure, Jiwoo couldn't sleep. She stood at the window of her quarters, looking out at the rings of Saturn, glittering in the darkness. Tomorrow they would attempt what no species had ever dared. They would look into the abyss, and if her calculations were correct, they would return with knowledge that would change the galaxy forever. If she was wrong, they would never return at all. The Prometheus hung in space near the rings of Saturn, its unusual shape gleaming in the distant sunlight. Inside the ship, Do-hyun checked the navigation systems one final time. As mission commander, he felt the weight of responsibility for his crew of 4 other humans. All systems are ready, he announced. Quantum shields at full capacity, Jiwoo nodded, strapping herself into the science officer's chair. The alien observer ships are keeping their distance. They're scanning us constantly. Let them watch, said Junho from the engineering station. They'll have quite a show. Security, Officer Jae-hyun laughed. They think we're going to our deaths. We might be, Communications Officer So-min said quietly. She was monitoring the quantum tether, their lifeline back to the human research station. Do-hyun turned in his chair to face the crew. Last chance. Anyone wants to stay behind, no one will think less of you. No one moved. After a moment of silence, Jiwoo smiled. Let's make history. The Prometheus fired its engines, moving away from Saturn and beginning its long journey toward the center of the galaxy. The trip to Sagittarius A would take 3 weeks, using their experimental faster-than-light drive. During the journey, the crew received daily messages from Earth and the alien observers following at a safe distance. Most were warnings, some were scientific questions, a few were simply goodbyes. The Arcturians sent us funeral poems, So-min reported one morning, checking the communications log. They're actually quite beautiful, Jae-hyun rolled his eyes. How thoughtful. Jiwoo spent most of her time reviewing the mission parameters. The plan was simple but dangerous. Approach Sagittarius A, deploy special sensor probes, then use the ship's unique design to cross the event horizon while maintaining connection via the quantum tether. They would gather data for 5 minutes, then attempt to use the gravity drive to pull themselves back out. No one knew if the exit would work. The equations suggested it might, but no one had ever tested such theories. 2 weeks into the journey, they detected an unscheduled ship approaching. It was moving fast on an intercept course. It's a Falunian vessel, So-min reported, checking the identification signals. They're requesting to dock. Do-hyun frowned. That's unusual. The Falunians were among the most vocal critics of our mission. Let them dock, Jiwoo decided. I'm curious what they want. The alien ship connected with the Prometheus, and a single Falunian came aboard. The tall, thin alien had pale blue skin that seemed to shift and ripple like water. Ambassador Krilnorax, the same one who had dismissed Jiwoo at the council meeting, bowed slightly. Dr. Park, he said, his voice translated through the ship's systems. I come with new information that may be relevant to your mission. In the ship's small conference room, Krilnorax displayed holographic images of ancient ruins discovered on a distant moon. These ruins belong to a species that vanished 18,000 years ago, he explained. We recently decoded some of their scientific records. They attempted a black hole mission similar to yours. Jiwoo leaned forward, suddenly interested. What happened to them? Their ship was lost, Krilnorax said, but not before sending back partial data, data that matches your theories about what exists beyond the event horizon. The crew exchanged shocked glances. Jae-hyun spoke first. Why? Are you telling us this now? Your people called our mission suicide. Politics, Krilnorak said simply. Many species fear what humans might discover. The Council decided to discourage you rather than help. But you're helping now, Do-hyun observed. The alien's skin rippled, with what might have been discomfort. Not officially. I came against orders because I believe knowledge should be shared. If you are determined to make this journey, you should have all available information. After Krilnorax left, the crew studied the ancient data. It wasn't much. Fragmentary readings, partial equations, but it confirmed Jiwoo's most important theories. This changes everything, Jiwoo said excitedly. We need to adjust our approach vector based on these gravitational formulas. Junho looked worried. These adjustments will put even more stress on the shields. But they'll give us a better chance of returning, Jiwoo countered. The ancient's ship was destroyed because they entered at the wrong angle. The final days of the journey were spent making careful adjustments to their plans. The alien observer ships maintained their distance, unaware of the new information the humans now possessed. At last, the Prometheus reached the outer observation zone around Sagittarius A. The massive black hole couldn't be seen directly, but its effects were obvious. A perfect sphere of nothingness surrounded by swirling gases and stars, moving in strange, rapid orbits. It's beautiful, Somin whispered. And deadly, Junho added, checking the shield readings. The radiation alone would kill us without protection. Do-hyun guided the ship closer, following the course they had calculated. The observer ships fell, back to a safer distance. Deploying sensor probes, Jiwoo announced, launching the first part of their mission. Small specialized devices shot out from the Prometheus, speeding toward the black hole's accretion disk. Probes are transmitting, Somin confirmed. Data looks good. Now came the moment of truth. The Prometheus moved closer to the event horizon, the point of no return. Final checklist, Do-hyun ordered. Quantum tether secure, Somin reported. Shields at maximum, said Junho. Sensors ready to record everything, Jiwoo added. Survival systems online, finished Jae-hyun. Do-hyun took a deep breath. Beginning approach vector, point of no return in 30 seconds. The ship trembled as gravitational forces grew stronger. Outside, space itself seemed to bend around them. The stars stretched into long streaks of light. 15 seconds, Do-hyun counted. Jiwoo gripped her console. This was it, the culmination of years of work. Either they would make history, or they would die trying. 5 seconds. The crew exchanged one final look. Despite the danger, despite the fear, there was excitement in their eyes. They were about to go where no living beings had ever gone and survived. Event horizon in 3, 2, 1. The Prometheus crossed the boundary, and everything changed. The moment the Prometheus crossed the event horizon, all normal rules of physics seemed to break. The view screens showed impossible sights. Light bending in ways that shouldn't be possible, colors that had no names, and shapes that hurt to look at. Shields holding at 82%, Junho called out, his voice tight with tension. Quantum tether still connected, but the signal is weak. Jiwoo checked her instruments, trying to make sense of the readings. We're experiencing time dilation. According to our calculations, every minute for us is only a few seconds for the outside observers. The ship shuddered violently. Outside, the fabric of reality itself seemed to twist around them. We need to stabilize, Do-hyun said, fighting with the controls. The ship's engines strained against forces no human vessel was ever designed to withstand. Adjusting shield frequencies, Junho reported. This might help counter the gravitational waves. Slowly, the violent shaking subsided. The Prometheus continued, its controlled fall deeper into the black hole, its special hull design cutting through the extreme forces that would have instantly destroyed any conventional ship. Somin worked frantically at her station. I'm sending data packets through the quantum tether. The connection is holding, but it's extremely fragile. Jae-hyun pointed at one of the side screens. Look at that. What is that? They all turned to see a strange structure in the distance, or what passed for distance in this impossible place. It appeared to be a series of geometric shapes too regular to be natural. That can't be right, Junho whispered. Nothing should be able to maintain structural integrity here. Jiwoo adjusted the sensors. It's real, and it's massive, at least 20 kilometers across. Could it be some kind of natural formation? Do-hyun asked, though his tone suggested he didn't believe that himself. Natural formations don't create perfect hexagons, Jiwoo replied. Whatever this is, someone, or something, built it. The realization hung in the air. They weren't just the first to enter a black hole and survive. They might have just discovered evidence of an advanced civilization that had beaten them to it. Change course, Jiwoo decided. Let's get closer to that structure. Do-hyun hesitated. The mission parameters call for us to gather data and then attempt exit within 5 minutes. Changing course will use up valuable time and fuel. This is the discovery of a lifetime, Jiwoo argued. We can't just ignore it. After a moment, Do-hyun nodded. New course plotted. Everyone, secure yourselves. This might get rough. The Prometheus turned, fighting against the swirling currents of warped space-time. The engines screamed in protest, and the shields flickered dangerously. Shield efficiency dropping to 63%, Junho warned. We don't have much time. As they drew nearer to the strange structure, more details became visible. It wasn't a single object, but a complex arrangement of interconnected forms. Some parts seemed to phase in and out of existence, while others remained solid and unchanging. Detecting energy patterns, Jiwoo reported, her voice filled with wonder. It's powered. After who knows how long inside a black hole, it's still active. Can we communicate with it? Someone asked. I don't even know what it is, Jiwoo admitted. But I'm going to try sending some basic mathematical sequences, something universal. While Jiwoo worked, Junho's face grew increasingly concerned as he checked the ship's systems. We have a problem. The quantum shields are failing faster than expected. At this rate, we have maybe 8 minutes before total collapse. That's cutting it close, Do-hyun said grimly. Our exit window is in 10 minutes. Jae-hyun, who had been quiet, suddenly pointed at another screen. There's movement around that structure. Something's responding to us. They all watched as portions of the massive construct began to shift and realign. It was like watching a giant puzzle rearrange itself. It's reacting to our presence, Jiwoo said, excitement overriding her concern. This proves it's an artificial construct, not a natural phenomenon. Jiwoo, Somin called urgently. The quantum tether is picking up a signal. It's not from our observers. It's coming from the structure. The main screen filled with a series of mathematical equations and geometric patterns. It's a language, Jiwoo breathed, a pure mathematical language. Can you understand it? Do-hyun asked. Parts of it, Jiwoo said, quickly making notes. It's describing the black hole itself, but in ways our science hasn't even considered. This is revolutionary. A violent shudder ran through the ship, throwing them against their restraints. Shields at 40% and falling rapidly, Junho reported. Whatever that structure is doing, it's creating gravitational fluctuations that are tearing at our defenses. Send a message back, Jiwoo told Somin. Basic mathematical responses, show them we understand. Are you sure that's wise? Jae-hyun asked. We don't know what this thing is or who built it. That's why we came here, Jiwoo insisted, to discover the unknown. Somin transmitted the response patterns Jiwoo had created. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the structure began to glow with an inner light that somehow penetrated the absolute darkness of the black hole. Amazing, Do-hyun whispered. Suddenly, a beam of energy shot from the structure directly toward the Prometheus. Before anyone could react, it engulfed the ship in brilliant light. Shields failing, Junho shouted. Energy levels off the charts. The ship's systems went haywire. Displays flickered and died. The lights dimmed to emergency levels. What's happening? Jae-hyun demanded, trying to access security protocols that no longer responded. It's scanning us, Jiwoo realized, watching as the beam methodically moved across the ship. It's learning about us. As quickly as it had appeared, the energy beam vanished. The structure began to change again, parts of it moving with purpose. Shields at critical levels, Junho reported. We have minutes at most. We need to leave, Do-hyun decided. Now, before we lose the ability to escape. Jiwoo looked torn. But there's so much more to learn. Not if we're dead, Do-hyun cut her off. Preparing emergency exit sequence. As Do-hyun worked to turn the ship around, So-min called out, "Another transmission coming through the tether, but this one's different." On her screen, a single image appeared, a map showing their position in the black hole, a path leading outward, and what appeared to be a safe exit point. "It's helping us," So-min said, amazed. "Or trapping us," Jae-hyun countered. Do-hyun looked to Ji-woo. "Your call, Doctor, your mission." Ji-woo studied the map for only a moment. "Follow it. Whatever built that structure has survived here. It knows how this place works better than we do." Do-hyun nodded and input the new course. The Prometheus turned once more, engines straining as they fought against the pull of the singularity at the black hole's center. Behind them, the mysterious structure continued to glow, watching, waiting, as the tiny human ship began its desperate journey back toward the light. Following the strange map provided by the alien structure, the Prometheus struggled through the impossible physics of the black hole. Do-hyun's hands moved quickly over the controls, making constant adjustments to keep them on course. "Shields down to 28%, Jun-ho reported, his voice strained. "Hull integrity is beginning to fail in sections 3 and 4. Ji-woo was frantically recording everything she could, knowing they might never have another chance to gather this data. "The path is taking us through a region where space-time seems to fold back on itself. It's like a tunnel within the black hole." The ship shuddered violently as they entered this new region. Outside the viewports, they saw something none of them could have imagined. Rather than empty darkness, they found themselves surrounded by what looked like a vast network of glowing lines and intersections. "It's like we're inside a giant circuit," So-min whispered. "Or a vast nervous system." Jae-hyun checked the security sensors. "I'm detecting energy flowing through these pathways. It's organized, not random." The black hole isn't just a gravitational phenomenon, Ji-woo realized, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's being used, perhaps even controlled in some way." Another violent shake threw them against their restraints. Warning alarms blared throughout the ship. "We've lost shields in the aft section," Jun-ho called out. "Hull breach imminent." Sealing bulkheads, Jae-hyun responded immediately, pressing emergency protocols. Rerouting life support. Through the chaos, So-min noticed something on her communications display. "The quantum tether is picking up signals from all around us, not just from the structure we saw, but from dozens of sources within the black hole." "We're not alone in here," Ji-woo said quietly. As if in response to her words, several of the glowing pathways around the ship brightened. 3 smaller objects detached from the network and moved toward the Prometheus. They were roughly spherical, each about the size of a car, with shifting geometric patterns on their surfaces. "Are they ships? Probes?" Do-hyun wondered, trying to maintain their course while keeping an eye on these new arrivals. "They're approaching slowly," Jae-hyun noted. Not attacking posture. One of the spheres moved directly in front of the Prometheus, forcing Do-hyun to slow their approach. It pulsed with light in a rhythmic pattern. "It's communicating," So-min said, analyzing the pulses. "The pattern matches mathematical sequences, similar to what we received earlier." "Can we respond?" Ji-woo asked. "I think so," So-min said quickly, programming a light sequence to project from the ship's forward lamps. For several tense moments, the Prometheus and the sphere exchanged light patterns. Then, without warning, the sphere moved to the side of the ship and attached itself to the hull. "What is it doing?" Do-hyun demanded, unable to shake the object loose. Jun-ho's eyes widened as he checked his engineering displays. It's repairing." "How a hull?" "The breach is being sealed with some kind of energy matrix. The other spheres are moving into position around the ship," Jae-hyun reported. "They're attaching at points where our shields are weakest." The effect was immediate. The violent shaking subsided, and the warning alarms fell silent one by one. "Shield integrity stabilizing at 40%, Jun-ho said, disbelief in his voice. "Whatever these things are, they're reinforcing our defenses." "They're helping us survive," Ji-woo said, amazement clear in her voice. "But why?" As the Prometheus continued along the path mapped out for them, the network of glowing lines grew denser. Ahead they could see what appeared to be a vast central hub where countless pathways converged. "Is that our exit point?" Do-hyun asked, gesturing to the hub. Jiwoo checked the map again. According to this, yes, but it doesn't match any known model of a black hole's interior. This shouldn't exist. As they approached the hub, the scale became clear. It was enormous, easily 100 kilometers across. A massive construct of interconnected geometric shapes, all pulsing with energy. It's artificial, Junho whispered. Someone built this inside a black hole. Not someone, Jiwoo corrected. Some civilization. This would take thousands of years to construct, even with technology far beyond ours. The spheres attached to their hull pulsed in unison, seeming to communicate with the hub. In response, a portion of the massive structure opened, revealing what looked like a docking bay. They want us to enter, Somin said. Hyun shook his head. Our mission is to exit the black hole, not explore further. But think what we could learn, Jiwoo argued. This is a technological marvel beyond anything humanity has ever encountered. Look at our situation realistically, Jaehyun said. Our ship is barely holding together. We have no idea who or what built this place or what they want from us, and we don't know if we can escape at all if we delay much longer. Junho checked his readings again. He's right. Even with the help of these sphere things, we have maybe 20 minutes before critical systems fail completely. Jiwoo looked torn, her scientific curiosity fighting against practical concerns. Finally, she nodded. You're right. We need to get this data back to Earth. We can always return better prepared. Do-hyun guided the ship away from the inviting docking bay, following the exit route on the map. The spheres remained attached, continuing to support their failing systems. As they approached what the map indicated was the exit point, the view ahead changed dramatically. Instead of more of the strange network, they saw what appeared to be a tunnel of swirling light stretching into the distance. It's some kind of constructed wormhole, Jiwoo said, checking her sensors. The gravitational equations suggest it's a stable passage through the event horizon. Can we trust it? Do-hyun asked. Before anyone could answer, the ship was hit by a massive surge of energy from behind. Displays flickered, and for a moment all systems went dark. When emergency power returned, Somin checked the quantum tether. The connection is stronger than ever. It's as if something is amplifying our signal. The spheres attached to their hull began to pulse more rapidly. Then, as one, they detached and moved in front of the ship. They arranged themselves in a triangle formation at the mouth of the light tunnel. I think they're showing us the way. Out, Jiwoo said. Do-hyun looked at his crew. Their mission had already succeeded beyond anyone's wildest expectations. They had entered a black hole, discovered an ancient alien civilization or its remnants, and gathered data that would revolutionize physics. Now they just had to make it home. Hold on, everyone, he said, increasing power to the engines. Let's see where this tunnel leads. The Prometheus followed the three spheres into the swirling light, racing toward what they hoped was the way back to their universe, carrying knowledge that would change humanity's understanding of everything. Aboard, the Arcturian observation vessel, Science Director Nexitar stared at his instruments in disbelief. It had been nearly 6 hours since the human ship Prometheus had crossed the event horizon of Sagittarius A. By all known laws of physics, they should be dead, crushed into atomic particles by the black hole's immense gravity. The quantum tether still shows activity, reported his assistant, but the signal is distorted beyond recognition. Impossible, Nexitar muttered. Most of the alien observation fleet had already left, convinced they had witnessed yet another failed attempt to understand black holes. Only 3 ships remained, his own, a Felunian science vessel, and a small Kurelix probe. Suddenly, the instruments on the bridge lit up with alerts. The space near the event horizon began to warp strangely. Energy surge detected, called out the sensor operator. Unlike anything in our records. A brilliant flash of light erupted from the darkness of the black hole. When it faded, a ship was there. Battered, scorched, its hull covered in strange geometric patterns that seemed to glow and fade, but unmistakably the Prometheus. They made it out, Nexitar whispered, his 4 hearts beating rapidly in his chest. The human ship drifted lifelessly, its engines dark. Nexitar immediately ordered his vessel to move closer. Prepare emergency boarding procedures. If anyone survived, they'll need immediate medical attention. On board the Prometheus, the crew lay unconscious at their stations. The journey through. The light tunnel had subjected them to forces that even their reinforced bodies couldn't withstand while awake. Slowly, Jiwoo opened her eyes. Her vision was blurry, but she could see the emergency lights flashing. "We're alive?" she croaked, her throat dry. One by one, the others regained consciousness. Junho checked his engineering panel, surprised to find it working at all. Main power is offline. Life support operating on emergency reserves. But the hull is... Wait, that can't be right. What is it? Do-hyun asked, rubbing a painful lump on his forehead. The hull should be completely compromised, Junho explained. But something is holding it together. Some kind of energy field that I don't understand. Somin struggled to sit upright. The quantum tether is still connected. We're receiving messages. From the observation fleet, they can see us. We made it out. Before they could celebrate, the ship shuddered as something docked with their emergency airlock. Jae-hyun checked the security cameras. It's an Arcturian rescue team, he reported. They're coming aboard. Within minutes, the Arcturians had entered the Prometheus, their environmental suits allowing them to move through the damaged sections. They seemed shocked to find the humans alive, but quickly began administering medical aid and preparing to evacuate them. 3 days later, Jiwoo stood before the emergency session of the Grand Galactic Council. Her left arm was in a medical stabilizer, and burn marks still showed on her face, but her eyes were bright with excitement as she addressed the assembled representatives of 300 species. "What we discovered changes everything we thought we knew about black holes," she explained. The massive screen behind her showed data and images from their journey. Sagittarius A is not just a gravitational phenomenon. It contains a vast, artificial structure, possibly millions of years old, that appears to use the black hole itself as both power source and shield against the outside universe. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Ambassador Krill Norax leaned forward. "You're suggesting an ancient civilization built something inside a black hole intentionally?" "Exactly," Jiwoo confirmed. "And not just built something, they're still there, or at least their technology is. The autonomous systems helped repair our ship and guided us out through a constructed passage that no natural black hole should have." Science Director Nextar, now representing the Arcturian Research Coalition, spoke next. "Our analysis of the Prometheus shows technology far beyond current understanding integrated into its hull. These patterns match no known civilization in our records." The council chamber erupted in overlapping questions and exclamations. The Galactic Chancellor, a wispy being of pure energy, called for order. "The implications of this discovery are profound," the Chancellor stated, once quiet returned. "If these structures exist in Sagittarius A, they may exist in other black holes throughout the galaxy. We must form a joint research initiative immediately." After the council session, Jiwoo met with her crew in the Earth Embassy. Despite their injuries, they were all smiling. Admiral Taiho joined them, still looking somewhat stunned. "The Arcturians have requested permission to partner with us on the next mission," Taiho informed them. "So have the Felunians, the Kuriliks, and 12 other species. Suddenly everyone wants to work with humans." "Funny how success changes things," Do-hyun said with a tired smile. "Yesterday we were reckless children. Today we're visionaries." Somin looked up from her datapad. "The quantum tether is still active. We're receiving regular signals from inside Sagittarius A. I think the structure is trying to communicate with us." "What's it saying?" asked Jae-hyun. "It's not words exactly," Somin explained. "More like an invitation." Jiwoo nodded. "They're waiting for us to return." 2 months later, a new ship prepared to depart Earth's orbital shipyard. Twice the size of the Prometheus, the Odysseus incorporated technology adapted from what had been found integrated into the first ship's hull. Its crew included not only humans, but also scientists from 7 other species. Jiwoo stood in the observation lounge as final preparations were made. Her injuries had healed, though she would always carry scars from their journey. Beside her stood Ambassador Krill Norax, now the Felunian representative to the Joint Black Hole Exploration Initiative. "I must confess something, Dr. Park," Krilnorak said quietly. Many of us believed humans would destroy themselves with their recklessness long before they achieved anything meaningful among the stars. And now, Jiwoo asked, now I understand that what we saw as recklessness was actually your species' greatest strength, the courage to attempt what seems impossible, that is uniquely human. Jiwoo smiled as she watched shuttlecraft moving around. The new ship. Already plans were being made for more vessels, more missions. What they had discovered in the black hole would change science, technology, perhaps even the structure of galactic civilization itself. We just wanted to know what was there, she said simply. That's always been humanity's way. We see a mountain, we climb it. We see an ocean, we cross it. We see a black hole. And you jump into it. Krilnorax finished with what passed for a Falunian smile. Beyond the viewport, stars glittered in the darkness. Among them, invisible from this distance but ever present in Jiwoo's mind, was Sagittarius A. No longer an ending, but a beginning. The gateway to something greater than anyone had imagined, and humans had been the first to find the key.